they actually forecasted that it was likely to have below normal rainfall. So we can see even the dry spells themselves, which are a shorter interval, we are able to pick them out quite easily in many of our forecasts. We have weekly forecasts, we have monthly forecasts. So we have a whole array of tools that tell you exactly what your weather will be like at most of the time intervals that we require.
Okay, I'm going to stick with you for just a minute if you don't mind. So when you gather this information, what do you do with it? When you know that in August, October, November, and December is going to look like this, what do you do with that information? It's not just us who look at it on the TV and say, okay, Nairobi is going to be cloudy today. This is data, right? Yeah. It's data, it's information. What do you do with it?
We disseminate it widely, from the very top to the very bottom. So those forecasts that we issue are actually co-created with line ministries. So we have people from agriculture, people from water, all these major ministries, they give their input to that forecast before it's issued. And then now from there, we give them back the same forecast. We disseminate it through the usual channels. And then we go down to the very last mile. We have our county directors of meteorological services. Those ones are in every county. And their role is actually to make sure that now it reaches the ordinary mwananchi per ground. So that everyone should be aware of what is coming.
You're smiling, so you know where I'm going with this. Okay. So my next question. My next question then, in this little summary is, you've collected the data, you've disseminated it to everybody. Are these things cyclical? We heard when there were floods, and I think Dr. Mondi was here when he said, with every extreme weather condition, there's a pattern. And you're likely to see that one extreme weather condition will follow another. So if we see flooding, then be sure that at some point it's going to dry up significantly. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are cycles to it.
There are cycles.
Yeah.
So you can almost predict what would happen, right? Can you, in some cases?
Yeah, we do give these predictions. There are tools to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, my last question in this episode. We have data. It's predictable. It's collected. And it's sent to the people who can do something about an extenuating circumstance. Yes? Okay. Is it the expectation then that this information you have gathered while things are still okay, it's not yet dark, right? While in my village, they say you don't go looking for a black goat in the night, right? When things are still wet, is it the assumption from Kenya Met? Because like I said, it's not just for you to tell us that the weather is shining today. No. Would you expect that perhaps somebody would take this data that you have collected, this information, and then act on it?
Yeah, that is the general expectation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can I get in now?
Please.
Yes. And I'll stick with Daktari for a while. Right? So, Daktari, here's a question where you received the information, you have received it, it has been broken down, it has got into the communities. Now, here's a question where there is that information that ends up at the macro level. So that would be the government, the ministries, and everybody else in that chain. But there is the need for this information to get to the communities at the ground, because like she's saying, it is broken down all the way to the mwananchi kwa ground. Yep. And mwananchi kwa ground is expected to do what with this information? I am privy to the fact that you sit with mwananchi and you even break this information further down to their languages that they do understand for faster anticipation and early warning systems that they do put in place. So, what have you done with Wananchi to ensure that this information is understood and that they prepare early before we get back to discuss just perhaps what then the national government should do with this?
Thank you. We've done a lot of capacity building just for them to be able to understand the given information. As I said earlier, it's highly technical. So it has to be broken down into pieces that even my grandfather or mother in the village is able to understand. So this information, as my colleague Jemima said, is disseminated. But before it goes to that end user at the village, it must be put in a way that they understand. And there are several channels, including what you said, we have the extension officers who are still a bit technical, but we also have some intermediary. We have what we call brokers who are able, but basically capacity building is the key thing that we do to them.
Yeah. So here we are at the community level. Let's take Garissa and Tana River, because there I have been. And we see what communities are doing with this information in terms of it's going to rain. We need to tap into this water all the way from Tana River and prepare ourselves for the shiny days and not rainy days, for shiny days to come. And here we see that there are individuals within Garissa County who are no longer importing food because they are taking note of what is coming, what they have, taking advantage of resources, and they save that for the future. If that is what, Dr. you're able to do at your level, is it about time that it is extrapolated in a macro level to see how you, together with other stakeholders, can make the area be self-sustainable?
Absolutely right. Yes, what we do is a pilot. Like you saw in Garissa, community are given climate information. They are told this season, the next coming 3 months will be dry. Then together with agriculture extension officer and researchers, the fast maturing crops are advocated for. Then they are also trained. Agriculture people train them. But the most important thing is that they get this information, knowing that the next 3 months will be this and that. So with that information, they are able now to even use the water from the river to irrigate a small piece of land and get something out of it. So this is a pilot, and we expect that this is supposed to be upscaled in area that is possible. And if this is done, the issue here is the finances to upscale it in a macro way, as you say. But at pilot level, it's very successful. And you go to Garissa right now, you'll find that there are people who are surviving in the midst of this biting drought.
So why can't that be multiplied and spread across?
It's possible. As I said, it's an issue to do with finances now. You need money. And when it comes to money now, you know who is responsible for money.
Okay. This is interesting that you say this, because we all and I do think that this information, even sometimes we joke here and we look at the weather forecast and we hear how you tell us that the winds on the westerly frontier are coming in an easterly, but things like that. And we're like, okay, what on earth? Is it going to rain or not? You know, that's what we want to understand. So breaking it down for people to understand that, hey, listen, folks, those of you who are planting fresh vegetables, because look, the northern part of the country and the other parts of the country coming down to Isiolo, Meru, that are suffering from this drought area, they plant, they harvest, they do when the weather conditions are good. So they would be able to understand when you take it and you put it in the bite sizes, that it's supposed to go down to the communities. The question then goes to, does it go down to the communities? Do they actually know? Does this information leave line ministries and then get to the people? Does it actually? Because that for me is the game changer. To say that, yes, line ministries have this information, agriculture, water and irrigation, even internal security and national administration, all of those guys involved in this process here. So now, does that information leave these ministries? The way we have CHPs who have their small segment of people that they have a jurisdiction over. Do people know that, hey guys, the next 3 months is going to be bitingly hard? Preserve your water, dry your meat, desiccate your maize, dehydrate your milk. Do we have those conversations? And I think that's the issue. It's beyond the rain will not fall for 3 months. It is the sources or the resources that you have. This is how to actually make them go a little longer, or this is how to preserve them. Are we having those conversations, Jemima? Because it's beyond just it will rain or not. It's it's survival.
Yes, we are. We've actually gone a long way as KMD to get these messages to the people. For instance, I can give just like a personal example.
Okay.
There are times when we issue advisories. You may have seen them. They come in with the red, red letterhead, and it tells you that things are serious. Now, that advisory will come from our offices at KMD. And then I will see that message in our WhatsApp group for the family. That tells you, and it's not me who posted it. It's gone full circle until it has arrived in that WhatsApp group. Now, aside, you can say those ones are people with technology. You go down now to the ground level, like in rural areas, and you'll hear people telling you, oh, we had the county director talking about the season on local radio in mother tongue, and they actually understood. And you know, when we go there and talk to them, it's actually not just, oh, it's going to rain. We also tell you, the agriculturalists say, because the rain is this way or that way, these are the actions that you should take. So we have taken a holistic approach, that it's not just about telling people it will rain, but we also now come in with other experts and add value to those forecasts, so that when you receive that message, you know it is this way or that way, and I need to do this or the other, and be able to actually get value from that focus. So we've seen it happen. We can say that watu kwa ground wanajua hii maneno. Yes.
Okay. Daktari, so here's a question where it will rain, right? Do with this information what is necessary. What I have seen many do in Garissa and Tana River is, because we know it's going to be shorter, let's sit down with the agricultural extension officers to see which crops can we grow now within this period that will mature fast, we can harvest and even reap profit and save for rainy days. If we have, say, 300, 400 animals, let's see how many we can offload now, get maximum profits on that, and keep lean animals, so that when it's dry, we do not suffer losses. That let's see, if it's gonna rain, it will flood. Let's see how we improve on our structures so that we do not lose, we do not get to a loss-making situation that we are unable to exist. That I have seen happen through capacity building, and it is an ongoing exercise. Then one would just ask then, Daktari, how do we scale up this information further? Because I know we have our champions on ground, but how do we scale this further together with other agencies to ensure that we are all winning at this, that we do not see animals die, if there is a solution that many are practicing right now and they are good at it?
Yes, scalability is very key. One, and also besides scalability, there is the policy. Policy is key because, like we are in Garissa with the Wiser Kenya project, after we have exited, we expect those things to continue. So one of the things that we advocate for is a change of policy, as much as we also do a lot of a change of mindset. When you go down, there's a lot to do with the mindset, you know, where a farmer do not want to offset the goats during drought so that it restock. So if we have this as a policy with the county government, then we expect that this will continue. But in terms of scalability, again, as I said earlier, there are finances are required, personnel are required. What happens on the ground are micro. You find that a NGO partner comes on with a small community or a county, yet we have 47 counties. So for this to be upscaled to 47 counties, you need massive resources. And this is something that is beyond a partner or an NGO. It now points to the government. It's a government that can put finances in a way that it can be upscaled. Otherwise, partners, NGOs, donors do at a very micro scale, and with the view that if it works well, then it should be upscaled.
When you talk about scalability from a county level now, here's a situation where a county is seeing what, from a policy perspective, that a county has seen what is being done on a trial basis, and it is working. It is then expected, correct me if I'm wrong, that a county would pick that up, put it as a policy for the county, and implement that for the long run, so that even as the partner pulls out, that the county has seen what is working and they go with that. So in the regions that you work, are these conversations you've had with the counties, and are they receptive to this?
Absolutely, yes. That is exactly that the phase 2 of Wiser Kenya is now doing. We are basically delving deep into policy. We are trying to help the county government through the county steering group. You know, these are the people that meet, discuss issues to do with the county. They have policies, they even have climate change policies and things like that. So as a project, what we do through the UK government is to help them revise. When they are revising their CDPs, then they are trying to integrate climate information so that when it is passed as a policy, then even after you have exited, they will still apply it. And again, the county steering committee group has got a network up to the village level. They use a community disaster risk management network to go to every village. So if this is done as a policy and cascaded, we have hope that it will go up to a household level.
Okay. Let's take a break at this point. We'll continue with this conversation in just a bit. And we're looking at, of course, the biting drought that's taking place around many parts of the country. And, of course, we're not just looking at Kenya. This is a regional issue. If we look into the parts of the Horn, this is also something that's taking place around. And maybe to look at these mitigating circumstances, I really want to understand how a dam works. And I think that Jemima will be able to do that for us, because then these are storage sources for water and how they can actually improve livelihoods. We're taking a break at this point. We'll come back and we'll discuss this as a Situation Room. Don't go away. We'll be back in a bit.
This is the Situation Room.
Perhaps we don't even know what they are, because if you have water coming out of your tap, the likelihood of you having to engage something like a water pan then is it's two worlds far removed, right? But then there are folks who depend on that. And so when we say that we see these horrific pictures from different parts of the country, Jemima, where animals are dying in their hundreds every day because they don't have sustenance. And then so that is livelihoods for families. And then children are also not able to go to school, because we're talking about food here. The government, we know so far, has given out cash transfers of over 850 million shillings. And we know that food rationing is happening in the meantime to kind of, cover this terrible situation. Because you're not going to grow anything right now because there's no water. But then storage facilities for water are things that have been there for the longest time. Water pans, dams. What would a dam help with in this situation, and how would that work?
Okay, so that is more of a water issue, which is sort of outside my profession. Okay. But as just someone who's a Kenyan, so for us, I look at it from the meteorological aspect, because we have given the forecast. We have said that we're expecting rainfall in March, April, and May. And even if we say that the rainfall may be below average in some areas, it doesn't mean that it won't rain. So if you're unable to make use of that rainfall to grow your crops, at least you can make use of it to do other things, like you can harvest it. If you have your tank, your small tank, or you have dug a small reservoir on your land, and you just direct that rainwater into those small structures. Some of them are not even at a capital intensive or anything. You just need to invest a bit and you're able to harvest, because it will rain. It may not do much for the agricultural sector, probably in some areas, but the rain will come. So whatever rain comes, it is just in our best interest to make use of it. Let's just not allow the water to just flow away into our drainages and our trenches. Capture it and keep it for something.
Dr. So
can I add
yes.
bit, in the ASAL, the arid and semi-arid lands that currently we are witnessing drought, they are quite sparse, they are quite big. These are the same areas when it rains, it gets flooded. So what happens is that they dig dams. They scoop soil, get it aside, and then have a big bowl that can carry water during flooding. This water, the animals, the community depend on it for a longer time. When drought comes, they can use this water, because it will be flooded. Then as we had a short time, it gets dry. So this water pan, the dams can keep water for some time for animals to use, and then thereafter they get dry, especially when drought bites for a long time. So when the animals start dying, these dams are completely dry. They cannot now feed the animals. So the basic issue here of dam is to keep water, and with the high temperatures, the evaporation takes place, some percolates down into the ground, but for a longer time, it can sustain a community.
So with the focus that was released, it was yesterday, right? So it has indicated that we expect rainfall. Some areas will experience normal, others below average, And with this information that we have now for what will happen from March for the next 3 months, one expects that there is some movement that should be taking place, because this is, like you said, this information is not just so we say Kenya Met or ICPAC have released this information. No, it's so that this information can be used for preparation for what is to come. Dr. So then, what should we be seeing happening in these different jurisdictions, these different areas, in anticipation and preparation for the rain that is coming? How should the preparation around this new forecast be happening together with the people? Because even this information, government is supposed to take it, but the overall consumer are the people. What should we be seeing happening on the ground towards the next forecast as it starts?
Yeah, so if you watch keenly yesterday's delivery of the next 3 months, how it looks like, the Kenya Met director sat with the key sectors, agriculture, livestock, water, energy, and after the forecast, they gave some advisories, what is supposed to be done. Areas with depressed rainfall, they gave advisories, what is supposed to be done. Quite clearly, this was done even in Swahili translated, but going downwards even sometimes to local language. We even have a sign language interpreter doing for those who are not able to hear. So with that one now, we expect all stakeholders, to look at the advisory and start preparation. Of course, preparation is expected to be done much earlier than before the rain comes. So there are probabilities. If it comes, it becomes depressed, there are things to be done. Areas that are forecast to be having excess rainfall, they're also issues, because we expect flooding, we expect landslide. So our disaster wing, the NDUC, they also have a team that are preparing for any eventuality. So there's a array of activities taking place. Preparation with all stakeholders, funders, those who can provide finances, the government, the community. So it is a multi-kind of stakeholders approach as we wait for the forecast to come.
Okay.
Yep. Jemima, therefore, if we have this information today, so that would lead, that is early warning and early preparation pretty much. So that means, correct me if I am to further interpret that information in a layman, that would mean if we take this information and we act on it, there is no reason why a Kenyan should die, farmers or Kenyans should experience losses, and that we should be seeing food rationing in the country. That we see what we see today because we failed to plan or use the information that is given.
Well, I will not speak to
you
other
speak as a
people's
Kenyan.
areas, but now I will speak as a meteorologist and as a Kenyan. The information is there. So now it is actually just upon us to take it up. And it goes down even to a personal level. Yes. So you plan. This is the time you should be figuring out how you will channel your water to wherever it's going. This is the time you'll be figuring out that if you follow the advisory that you've been given by the agricultural office, how will you sustain the crop that you have chosen to plant, so that in the end you're able to actually make something out of that or have enough food for yourself. So it goes beyond the top level. It also goes down even to the mwananchi kwa ground, me and you. What kind of decisions will we take based on this forecast, because it's out there for everyone. So we take it, we read the advisories that are there, and as my colleague mentioned, it will come, the advisories were given yesterday, but even when we issue the main document, we have a whole list of things, not written by KMD, but actually coming from the experts that co-produce that forecast with that. So you can read it and say, okay, I need to do this, this, and that, so that I can make use of the rainfall that we're expecting or the lack thereof. So the information is out there. We all need to act as Kenyans and do something.
Dr. Modi, when we then look at the situation, do we see that from a climate point of view, there's a project, I don't know if it's still going on, I don't know what's going on with that now, but 15 billion trees are supposed to be planted. I don't know how many billions we've reached. And that there's a direct relationship between tree planting and retention of moisture in the environment that then goes on to ensure that really dry land would not have to suffer the consequences like what we are seeing right now. Does that science make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So then there should be some kind of focus, or there should have been some kind of focus in ensuring that these parts that suffer from these dry weather patterns should get the most of the attention when it comes to things like tree planting. Is that so?
That's what is expected. But you know very well that if you plant a tree in a dry place and we have a prolonged dry spell, and remember this tree, we plant them, but very little care. It's like nobody is following day to day to make sure that this tree has water, is weeded, and things like that. So if you go and plant, for example, a massive 1 million trees in Garissa for now, and rain comes and stops, they will die. So there is a need for a follow-up when it is planted, and we make sure that it grows up to maturity level. And as you said, when we have trees, a canopy of trees, it stops any wind that is moving. You know, we are surrounded by the Indian Ocean, we have Lake Victoria, so we have moisture. Rain should not be a problem here, but because we don't have a barrier that can carry that moisture to the skies, make clouds and come back as rain. So when we have trees that are planted, they can stop any moisture. By the way, we have a lot of moisture. Others come all the way from Congo Basin. We have Indian Ocean. So if we have any barrier that can take that moisture up to form clouds, we'll be having a lot of rains. But a massive land, we just have like the semi-arid and arid lands is flat. We don't have trees. So the moisture just passes. It goes to Ethiopian islands. It goes to islands that are far away from the arid and arid lands. That's why you find them remain.
So there's a case to be made for this tree planting, but not just tree planting, but tree caring.
Tree caring is very critical.
Yes.
Okay.
So you make sure that you target 15 billion. How many survived?
Yes.
We planted 1 million 2 years down the line. How many do we still have? So it should be physical counting to make sure that out of the 1 million, we have 900,000 still surviving. That way we'll achieve the objective. Otherwise, if we just go plant them and we celebrate we have planted 1 million, 2 million, quite a lot of them get affected. Yes.
You know, I look at a situation where if you look at how we consume weather in the country, it's usually meant for the elite in the business. You know, it's a weatherman or weatherwoman who has that information, and they're the ones who understand it. If you compare that with other citizens of the world out there, one would always look at their phone. How does the weather look like today? How does that inform my movement? How does that inform how long I will stay outside? What kind of clothing do I have on? How do I need to prepare my farming for what is to come? Do I need to put, gabions next to my house so that flooding does not happen? But in Kenya, we don't do that. We just wait for dalili ya mawingu, mvua ni mawingu. If it comes, it comes. You know, if it finds you in Nairobi, you know, if you consume that information, you know it's going to rain in Nairobi, perhaps you need gumboot because it floods, or you need to get a boat because it would flood. How do we scale that information to ensure that it's not just Kenya Met Department, ICPAC, or us as journalists consuming this information, but that it's everyone's responsibility to understand the weather around them, what that means, and actions that they should take. Because if we don't do that, we will every time be having this cyclical information and nothing really happening on ground.
Well, I am happy to say that we've made strides. I mean, gone are the days that we used to talk to ourselves. Nowadays, you'll have people... yeah, those were a long time ago.
Yeah.
Not Jemima admitting that at some point Kenya Met was just,
a long time ago.
Okay.
It was a long time ago. Nowadays, at least, we have people understanding what we're saying. So you actually have, unlike us just giving the information, you have people requesting for that information. Can you tell me this or the other about this place? I'm doing this or the other, and I need you to tell me what will the weather be like when I'm doing this. And this is not just high-level Nairobi people on X.
Yeah.
This goes even beyond Nairobi, even within just the rural areas. You mentioned that, we have issued this forecast, or I work for the meteorological department, and someone will ask you, mnasema aje? You know, So there is that need, and it is a need that we have realized is there, and we are doing our best to meet those needs. And as Dr. mentioned, we are doing a lot of co-production.
Okay.
So we are not just giving information. We need you to tell us, how do you want this information to be given? Do you want us to give you icons that show you the sun, the rain? Is that what you understand? Or do you want us to tell you in sentence form? Just what works best for you. That is actually the direction that we're going, and we are happy to report that people are consuming that information and taking action based on it. So we're on the right path. Yeah.
What does it look like? Let's talk about, then moving forward, because like I said, the situation is bitingly difficult at the moment, and it seems to be creeping closer than comfort for a lot of people, that those who've got to look at everything die, literally, from food sources to, livestock and all of this, are actually thinking, I'm going to have to start again, and that's what we're looking at, having to start again. But for how long is this night, is the question, from the data, and what the folks going to be able to look forward to, and what can they do? So we start with you, Jemima, and what can they do then in the meantime to kind of, tighten a little bit on this situation?
So for the areas that are currently NDMA has given them as being in alert or alarm, those are areas mostly towards the eastern part of the country, northeastern. The forecast that has been released for the March, April, May is actually showing that the rains will not be so good. So we are giving, yes.
Even after this dry thing, the rains are going to come like a drop.
It is the way it is, the science. We go to normal to below normal rainfall, so less than adequate. But of course, there are things that can be done, and we look forward to seeing what the stakeholders will actually do with the information, because for us, we give that information well in advance, and then the action can be taken. Yeah.
By the way, as we are talking now, the National Drought Management Authority team, they're in Naivasha in a retreat.
Okay.
They have done assessment. They have network up to village level. They have gathered the data concerning the ongoing drought. They are now meeting there to write a report. That report will be really factual and will tell us how many people are already in hunger. And that will also determine whether the government will take what kind of action. Yeah. So that will come with figures that they're now trying to analyze now. Yep.
Dr. One then asks, with successes, one would say that has been seen from communities on the ground, are we possible to see that if a little bit of more focus is given to these individuals who are doing it at the community level, and them being the ambassadors of this information to their fellow to their fellow locals, perhaps we would see a turnaround and a shift from what is happening at the moment?
Absolutely, yeah, that is.